You're listening to the Every Student, Every Day podcast with me, Jim Franchini, Superintendent of the Averill Park Central School District.
So welcome to this episode of the Every Student, Every Day podcast. For those of you who follow us on social media or on our website, you know that we tried to highlight the service of some of our veterans recently. And the feedback from that was really, really positive. We were really grateful that folks volunteered to kind of talk about their service and their experience. And the feedback from our community, again, was really, really positive. And we thought as a result, why not have some of those folks join us on the podcast? Because we know people are very interested and appreciative of the service of all of our veterans. So this episode is going to focus on the Averill Park employees that we have who have served in the military. And I think it's going to be a very interesting and kind of cool conversation. So first off, thank you to those who are joining us. More importantly, thank you for your service and all you've done for the country. Very much appreciated. I know by all of us, certainly in this community, I know our residents are very appreciative. So thank you for that, first and foremost. And thank you as well for joining us today and spending some time to talk to our listeners about your role here and your experience in the military. Why don't we start by just introducing ourselves, ask you to kind of say your name and tell us what you do here at Averill Park. We have a wide range of people on this call, or this podcast, which is great. Gordon, do you want to start for us?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Gordon Kaedy. I teach U.S. history and military history at Averill Park High School, 712. I mostly have upperclassmen, and in fact, I just finished a military history elective this morning. I'll be completing my 28th year with the district this June, and I served in the Marine Corps from 1977 to 1983, and traveled and did my thing, and we'll probably get into a little bit of that later on. But that's me. Go ahead, Scott.
Yes, my name is Scott Day. I'm the custodian for the high school. Just basically, I am the caretaker of the school during the day until I turn it over to the night crew.
Yes, thank you. Thank you both for joining us. And that is a good way to describe your job. Scott's the behind the scenes MVP around here. Kevin.
My name is Kevin Beale. I am a groundskeeper here at Averill Park. If it's outside, you'll probably see me out there. Do everything from mowing and weed whacking to lining the sports fields.
Thank you, Kevin. Another one of our behind-the-scenes guys. We have an extremely small grounds department that has an extremely large area to care for and does I can't even fathom the job that they do to make the place look as good as it does with, again, the staff that we have. It's absolutely incredible. And Mike.
My name is Mike Walczak. I work in transportation as a school bus driver, and I've been here, I think this is my 8th year.
Great. Thank you, Mike. And again, one of those people behind the scenes, our transportation department that does a phenomenal job, especially given our road conditions here and our terrain. So thank you again to all of you for the role here that you play in the district and, of course, for your service. Let's get right into it with your military background. Can you tell us your branch, your role, your years of service, maybe some of the things that you did in your role in the military? Let folks kind of know your background from that point of view. Scott, do you want to start on that one?
Sure. I was in the United States Army. Let's see. Basically, I was in the Signal Corps, which is telecommunications. I was in for quite a long time. I've done all kinds of places, as far as in the States. And then I've been to Germany twice, Korea, and then was deployed to Southwest Asia. And basically, I thought I was going for 30 years, but once my daughter was born, I decided to go ahead and retire and come on back and be a dad.
Excellent. Thanks, Scott.
Kevin, how long were you, Scott, how long were you in totally? How many years? Did you say 20?
Yeah, I retired with 20.
Wow.
Yep.
Nice. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Kevin, how about you?
I did 6 years in the Army National Guard. I never got the chance to deploy. I was close. We went down to Fort Polk, Louisiana, for 2 months to prep to go on a deployment, and at the end of it, it was canceled. So had we all come back to New York State. Then for 2 months, I worked over in the state of Washington at Joint Base Fort Lewis McChord, working with the Australians in a joint mission with the U.S. Army and the Australians, just tearing down trucks and putting them back together once the Australians approved them. I was a mechanic. The classification, the terminology is a 91 Bravo as a all-wheeled vehicle mechanic. So, and I got activated couple times for a snowstorm out in Utica. So I've been some places in the States and done some really cool things.
Nice.
Great, thank you. Mike, how about you?
I served in the United States Army from 1983 to 1989 as a military police officer and as a corrections officer. I had 2 MOSs. I was deployed to Alaska, or signed to Alaska, and then to Kansas at Fort Leavenworth. At Fort Leavenworth, I worked in the disciplinary barracks there, but most of my tour in Kansas was as a general driver, assistant, and guard. Fort Leavenworth is a command training post where your colonels and above go for training. So they would have the MPs be their drivers and their guards, basically their assistants. So that's I left the Army in Kansas for 3 years, and then I joined the National Guard when I came back to New York, and I was in the National Guard here for 3 years.
Outstanding. Thank you. And last but not least.
Last but not least. So, but Kevin, we do I do a thing in Vietnam, and I don't know if you've ever watched the film Tigerland. Have you ever heard of Tigerland?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. So it takes place in Fort Polk. That's why I bring it up. And Fort Polk is.
I was there in the middle of the summertime.
I can't imagine.
Nighttime was about 90 degrees, and it was cold.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And rainy, right? Rainy and
no, not rainy.
No, not rainy. No,
not rainy. Just straight sunshine.
Yes. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. So my journey began right out of high school. I joined the Marines as a 17-year-old. They had the delayed entry program. I think I wanted to go to college, but it was pretty obvious that I wasn't probably going to serve my parents that well by going to college and using their money effectively. So I joined the Marines, much to the chagrin of my grandmother. And a bit of a long story. Her son was a combat veteran in Vietnam, and he ultimately killed himself, and he was in the Marines. So when I joined, it was like, oh, but I joined in 1977. It was on the heels of the Vietnam War, and I'll argue that it was pretty calm, honestly. And I just kind of wanted to get out. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world like any other knucklehead 18-year-old and do their thing. And that's really what I accomplished. I stayed out of trouble for the most part. And that's hard to do in the Marine Corps. I've got two good conduct medals from the Marines. And that's hard. That's an accomplishment in itself. But I traveled all over the world, visited probably close to 50 countries, and served in every Marine Corps division, 2nd Marines at Lejeune, 3rd Marines at Okinawa, and 1st Marines in California. I traveled a bit, and when I think it was probably maturity, right? I just was older, and I was in California. I was actually enrolled in San Diego State University in 1981, and said I can't do this here. I would never go to school. I came home, went to college, and did my thing, and here I am as a history teacher. I don't think anybody in my high school cohort would have ever thought that, or maybe my Marine Corps cohort, but this is where I landed. I found a passion for history and wrote Dr. Franchini, nice little note. I mean, I was able to create my military history class and draw my experiences and just really expand on what I know. And I look fondly on my time now. I don't know if I did then, but you guys probably do the same thing. And we had a lot of great memories, but sometimes it was sketchy. I was in field artillery. We did some pretty funky things. We just trained, as you guys know, all you do is train. And I was very fortunate. I say this out loud to everybody that'll listen, that I didn't have to I wasn't in combat, right? So I don't have any combat scars. I've got a relatively positive view of my time in the military, and I think I used it effectively in my teaching and my world. So yeah, made me more disciplined, no doubt about it. I would have failed college. Right? I don't know what I would have done. Honestly, I know what my parents would have done, but they would have said, you should go in the military. It's like, wait. So, anyway, yep, that's my story.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. What inspired each of you to join? Like, what was that initial kind of spark or thing that made you go, yeah, this is for me? And some of you kind of touched upon that, but maybe go a little bit more in depth. Like, what made you want to do that? It's obviously a big commitment. What led you?
I'll start. Mine was easy. I like the physical challenge of the Marines. It's everybody, everybody's yelling, screaming, and I like the discipline of it. Again, I like any physical challenge that they could throw your way. I was like all in. If you can just let me, Jim, you know me, if you just let me work out all day long, I'd be a happy camper. I'd go about my business. That's all I would do. That nice and casually. I still do it. I like it. I'm not that kid anymore, but the physical part of it and probably the mental discipline probably was mine, because as senior in high school, I don't think I had it. And I think the Marines really gave it to me, honestly. Yeah, that was my challenge.
For me, it's a bit of a sensitive subject. I was working as a pizza delivery guy. I was 22 years old, and I went to show up for work, and there was a sign on the door saying, "This business has been shut down by the IRS." So I'm like, well, now what do I do? And I asked some friends if anybody knew a recruiter, and found a recruiter on South Lake Avenue in Troy, the National Guard barracks, and I joined. And I went in there and I says, I want to be a mechanic or a sniper, or I'm going to walk out the door. And I ended up being a mechanic.
I guess I'll go. What inspired me? There were a couple different. A counselor here at the school. I still can't remember. I don't remember their name, but I had wanted to go into law enforcement. My father was a police officer in Albany, but at 18 years old, you can't join a police department. You have to be 21 at that time. So the counselor here recommended that I go either to college for criminal justice, but the counselor said that really doesn't guarantee you a job in law enforcement, because it's civil service and that's what they base it off of. And then they recommended that I speak to a recruiter for maybe the military police. And I spoke to a recruiter for the Army and ended up in the military police. Very wise decision on my part.
Yeah, outstanding. Yeah, and myself, I'm actually born and raised in the great state of Iowa. So when graduation came for me, it was kind of, I wasn't really looking. I didn't have much options for college, and you either farm or you're a factory worker at that time. And basically the advice of military history, I got a lot of people in the family, Korean Wars, my grandfather, World War, Vietnam from my uncles, and they kind of talked me into it. It looked like a great path, and I joined and never turned back.
That's interesting. All great stories. Any specific moments or experiences that stick out to you, if you can kind of think back to something in your experience that really get you in terms of meaningful or memorable? Anything out there?
I can jump on that one if you want.
Absolutely.
Basically, I mean, there's so many memories, but I enjoyed a great deal going to Germany twice. I traveled all over Europe. It was great. But just being in the military itself is the camaraderie and just you know, I worked with some of the greatest men and women leaders. I was really blessed with all that. I had a great career, had great people. Of course, we always have somebody we don't like, but but no, it was just a great experience.
I did a lot of things. I always volunteered to do extra stuff. So with the National Guard, they say it's 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year, and if you volunteer, you can make that during the week. You go to your unit and you can work. But the last year that I was in was probably my favorite because every new guy that came in didn't really know a whole lot because the recruiters tell them what they're going to do and that's what they do and they have no knowledge. So I spent my last year teaching the new guys that came in how to service the trucks and all that fun stuff. So that's what really does it for me is passing my knowledge on to other people that came in.
With what defined my military service, there were a lot of great things. I spent a lot of time in Alaska. If I can recommend anything to anybody that likes to travel, make Alaska a destination. It's amazing. Did a lot of great things there. Had some bad experiences too as an MP. But when I got shipped out of Alaska and sent to Kansas, I thought that was the worst that could ever happen to me because I tried to stay there. But then in Kansas, I met my wife. The absolute best thing that ever happened to me in the military. And there were a lot of great things, but that was the best. So I'm going to say that, probably meeting my wife in Kansas defined my military service.
Right. And I'll piggyback on all that. It's the people, right? Everybody you have contact with, good, bad, and ugly, right? They're all over. But it was the people. And then in my experiences, the travel, I think that's probably what really sticks in my mind. Just being able to see as many different cultures and being as exposed to different cultures and traversing the Atlantic Ocean on a transport ship and just having those kinds of life experiences that no one can ever take away from you. We're talking about the Korean War now in military history, and it still gives me the heebie-jeebies. I spent 3 months in Korea on a training exercise, and it was outdoors and it was cold weather. So they send Marines in Okinawa, tropical, perfect military, right? Your Marines are in a tropical climate. You have to send them to cold weather training when they're in a tropical climate. So they send you to Korea for cold weather training. And if you've been to Korea, and some of you probably know it, it's this time of year, it's brutal. It's absolutely, we were in South Korea and it was cold, and we're studying North Korea. I just can't even imagine what those guys were going through. And I just have a lot of empathy with it and understanding. And I never would have gotten that kind of an experience or exposure that I did if I hadn't been in the Marines or the Army or National Guard or anywhere, right, guys? We know it's and the people. I mean, I can't think back on it now. It's just like, I don't know if you guys are. I'm friends with some guys on Facebook with some my old platoon mates that we found each other on Facebook. It's amazing. I mean, that you can maintain contact with people. And if you told me that I would back then, I would. You guys are out of your mind. If you told me I could do it through a computer, I would have said you are really, really crazy. And if they ever listen to this, they'll say, Kaedy, you're just what are you doing, man? So yeah, it was really the people. I mean, and the exposure. I didn't meet my wife until I came back in the States, but I don't know that she would have liked me as a college graduate instead of
my wife didn't like me when we first met.
Yeah. I mean, you're probably mine too. Probably they grow on you, or you grow on them after a while. I guess.
She'll tell you too.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, that would be it. That would be it for me. I got some crazy stories, but we're good. I think we're good with that. That's but again, just seeing the people and the different cultures that you can be exposed to in the military is phenomenal. So, yeah.
Thank you to all of you. So, if you switch from like experiences to skills, do you feel that your time in the military gave you skills that you carry with you into your current role, whether maybe more on the technical side or maybe just, I think Gordon, you mentioned, self-discipline, those type of things, any type of skills that kind of stick out that you learn there that you're able to now use in your current role or even outside of your work life?
I'll go right. I'll just piggyback right. You just said, Jim. Mine was all about the discipline and being able to do, especially going into teaching. I didn't know that I was going to, when I got out of the Marines, I didn't know I was going to go into teaching. I wanted to go into health and fitness and be a personal trainer or whatever you were going to do. But that became quite a, it's, I don't know if it's a career. I don't know if it's a married career, family career. And I mentioned the gym yesterday that when I got to Averill Park, I was mentored by some of the best, and I started coaching football here. And I don't know if you guys ever knew or ever heard of Rit Aldi, but he was a mentor of mine. He said, "Geez, you want to coach, you want to teach, you're good at history. Don't be stupid." And he really encouraged me to become a teacher. And I think without that military discipline, I said, "Oh, I can do that. That's not, my God, you come out of the military, or you're in the military. I know you, Scott, you can do anything. I mean, you guys can do anything that you put your minds to. I know you can."
Yeah.
And you went in school and going to getting a degree, as long as you can jump through the hoops at state ed, and the bureaucracy compared to the military is nothing. So it was pretty easy, and I put that all at the foot of the Marine Corps, because they tell you how to do it, and you just have to, you got a good frame, right? You got a good DNA, and you can just do it. And, yeah. So that's me.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm kind of the same way. It's just everything from responsibility, accountability, your work ethics, everything that comes, everything's, attention to detail, and you can pretty much carry it over with any job. It makes, where, as Gordon said, nothing's as hard as you think it is. It's just a matter of, clanking down and knocking it out, and, but yeah. And then, over time you learn leadership skills, and, you learn how to talk to people, and you learn how to train people, and that's really what it comes down to. It just can be carried over to any job you ever take.
I guess the one thing that I always and continue to use is the military taught me, you're given a task, you do it quickly, efficiently, safely, 100%, move on to the next. And that's what I carry today, and I continue to do it. I do it here in my job, and that's the one thing that I took from it.
Yeah.
With me, I'm going to say discipline, but I don't know if military police had a big impact on bus driving, but it did on my career, which when I got out of the service, I became a child support investigator for Rensselaer County for a little bit. And then I went to Albany County Sheriff's for 25 years. Retired from them. During that time, I'm also a state certified instructor for police and corrections. State certified firearms instructor. I took any bit of training I could get. And I think that carried over from the military, because You know, they say never volunteer in the military. I was one of them guys that wasn't smart enough not to do that. You know, the hand went up in the air, you know, but I would say that was, you know, that my military helped with that career tremendously. And, you know, 25 years dealing with maybe society's not best people. Now I deal with society's best, most innocent kids.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on what Mike just said. The training. I mean, I agree. I mean, I do that now, and even I work at a job where the more training you do, we do training all the time. That's all we do is train. And Mike, like you don't even think about it. You just do it, and you just get it done. And I was one of those guys too. You just volunteer for everything. The more you could learn, just the better person and the better leader you could be. And you guys are invaluable in the district. I'm a teacher. I do my thing, but I know Scott, I know Kevin, I know Mike, and I know what you guys do. And trust me, it
helped with being away from family too.
Oh, absolutely. Right. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Be busy.
So we a lot of times wrap up with a question regarding your experiences and what you would tell a student, you know, who's walking our halls right now, maybe in the middle school or the high school, and they're kind of thinking about a career in the military. What advice would you give someone who's kind of got that thought in their mind, looking back on your experiences, the pros, the cons, the benefits, anything you would tell a student who's kind of walking through the journey right now and beginning at stage?
I would just say, you know, you don't have to have it all figured out right now. If you have some type of leaning towards the military, it's been a while since I've been out, but I would say contact a local, you know, recruiter. There's so many options, and I don't even know what the current options are, but you know, from college to, yeah, and like I said, you know, we all said travel is just, you know, meeting crazy, awesome people from everywhere. You know, you can imagine every walk of life. Yeah, I would definitely advise somebody to, if you are really serious and you're thinking about it, get a hold of a local recruiter and see what they can do for you. And just like Kevin was saying, if you have something selective in mind, you know, I don't know if they still do ASVAB tests anymore, but you used to take a test and they'd give you a list of, here are all your options. And, you know, it might be something in there you've never thought of before.
I'm going to say I would advise them that it's a life commitment. It's not 6 years. It's not 3 years. Once you're a vet, there's a saying, once a Marine, always a Marine. Well, I like to take it a little bit further. Once a veteran, always a veteran.
Oh, yeah.
It's a life commitment. You know, it has to be something you want. It's not easy.
No.
But once you're done with it, you're very proud. I mean, to this day, I'm the commander for the Veterans of Sand Lake up at the American Legion post. So I'm still involved. So, I mean, I would try to stress that to them. It's an honorable, very honorable thing to serve your country, but it is a commitment.
Yeah.
I guess I would say if you're thinking about joining, do your homework, do your research, look into it. Make sure that if you're going to sign your name on the dotted line, to make sure whatever job you decide to choose in the military, that's what you want to do. And some of the recruiters, there's good ones, there's bad ones. Some of them just say, this is what you're going to do and suck it up. And you don't have to do that. You can tell them, like, I'm going to do this, and this is what I want to do. And, you know, or I'm going to walk out the door. They're just, you just do your homework and do your research, and feel free to ask any one of us, if you see us, the questions, you know, feel free to reach out too.
I deal with a lot of students in military history, and you'd never encourage anybody, but you can always just say it's personal choice, but I always look at it as a positive choice too. I mean, I can't. All of us here are saying pretty incredible things about our experiences, and we've never talked about them before. And to tell a student it's the right thing to do is it may be, but you should, like you said, Kevin, you should just do your homework, right? Make sure you have options, and it is a commitment. You swear an allegiance forever, an oath of allegiance, to the Constitution of the United States. I teach it, and we do it all the time. And I tell my students in my class, I'm the only one who's ever done it in here. So you guys should listen and have understanding of what's going on and try to pay attention to world events. And it's the military. It's not a joke. You can be, any one of us could have been in any kind of harm's way at any given moment, whether you're in the MPs or whether you're firing artillery shells or wherever you happen to be. My goodness gracious, there's no guarantee that it's ever going to be safe. So, and you have to be prepared for that, right? I mean, if we all joined after 9/11, we all would have probably gone into some combat role, or we would have wanted to if we were in that realm, and we would have done whatever we needed to do for our branch of service or the country or whatever have you. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a challenging decision. But when you I made my decision, I was 17 years old, and nobody could have talked me out of it in a million years. Right. For real. I mean, my parents, my mother was pretty livid. My father been in the Navy. He was accepting of it. He knew, and they know what's going on in the world, and they'll say, oh, he'll probably be mostly safe. Yeah. But not always. I mean, you could have done anything. I mean, I was getting out. I was still in the reserves in 1983 when the Marine Corps barracks was blown up in Beirut, Lebanon. And I came this close to okay, I'm going to go back in. I said, you know what? That's not my circus anymore. That's somebody else's job. I did my thing, and there are very capable people besides us that need to go there. So it's but I would call it a personal decision and a very, very an honorable commitment you have to make for years, whether you're in, like you said, whether you're in for 3, 6, or 20 or 30 or whatever. It's a commitment. So, yeah, that's what I would do.
Well, again, I get the honor of saying thank you to this group of people for your service to the district, as well as your service to the country. And also today, thank you for joining the podcast. I think our listeners will enjoy listening to these stories, and appreciate you spending some time with us. So thank you very much.
Dr. Franchini, thank you for having us. You guys did a great job this year promoting the veterans. I think that's an incredible thing. I've worked with the veterans in the community as well, and we do a lot with the veterans in the community, but the district really went above and beyond this year, I think. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, much appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. See you next time on Every Student, Every Day.